Alright, hey everybody, this is Star Road Warrior, and for this video I got a special guest with me. Go ahead.
Hi all, this is Luis, also known as Blitzsword.
As you can see, we're got a video of us playing Street Fighters, or Super Street Fighter 4 rather, and what we're going to do is kind of give our comments on it, or just talk about random games and stuff like that. Like before we even started recording, we were talking about Soldier Boy and random videos that we've seen. So, with that being said, we're just going to go back and forth giving our thoughts on different things. And I'll let you go first. Anything random you want to say?
Um, I'm just admiring this match right here. It's a pretty interesting match that we had a couple of weeks back. I remember when we first started playing Street Fighter. It's just you were pretty good, but you weren't able to
I suck.
beat
Just,
me
just,
as
just.
no, I wouldn't go that far, but I just got lucky. But I mean, most of the times I would be the one that would have a lot of victories. But seeing the matches now, it's just kind of it's a drastic change.
Yeah,
It seems like you've gotten a lot better.
I will agree with that. I'm not going to say that I was bad with controls or anything, but it was just kind of getting used to it because I had Street Fighter on the Xbox and then coming over to PlayStation. It's not that big of a difference. It's just remembering certain things.
Yeah. When it comes to Street Fighter, it's not really a game that people can win just by button mashing,
Right.
and the controllers are really. I'm not gonna say it's complex, but it takes time to get used to. I remember I still suck actually, but back when I started out with this game in particular, it wasn't really that good. And no, but I've gotten better because I would play like every once in a while or a little bit more constantly than before, and it's just like you said, it's about getting used to it. There's another thing, an interesting thing that you brought up about the Xbox and PS3 controllers. Technically, it's not really there isn't really much of a difference, like you said, but when you think about it, I guess people that use the D-pad, that tend to use the D-pad, would actually fall into the PS3 category because, in my experience as well, I'd have to agree with them. I don't really like the D-pad on the Xbox controller. It
Yeah.
just feels a little flimsy, and just can't really pull off certain moves. But I guess that's what the sticks are for either way. So, well, I don't know what your opinion on that is.
Well, talking about controllers, I know some people prefer the arcade stick that you can buy separately at like GameStops and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um, I'm, if I play an arcade stick, I'm gonna go play it at an arcade place. I know that sounds kind of odd, but as far as controllers go, you know, either way, if I were to play Xbox or PlayStation, I would feel comfortable either way. Um, I guess it just comes down to your own personal preference. Do you want to use the analog stick, or are you more comfortable with the D-pad? But
yeah,
for me, I use the analog stick. It's not a personal preference. It's just I'm more comfortable that way.
yeah. I tend to like there are certain fighting games that where I just strictly use the D-pad, but in this game in particular, I tend to kind of switch off from analog to D-pad.
Yeah,
I don't know, some moves are much easier to pull off when you're using the stick, especially those zigzag moves that I don't know if you've ever taken a good look at the command list.
yeah,
You see like these zigzag things that you have to do with the joystick, but it's just those kind of moves. That's where I tend to use a joystick on the controller. But everything else, like dashing or stepping back, jumping, I just tend to use the control stick because it's much easier.
yeah. Much more
But
fluent. Speaking of like controls for fighters and all that, for Tatsunoko versus Capcom on the Wii, I use the just the Wiimote, and it seems like I've used the classic controller because I wanted to try it out, and it seems like whenever I do the commands for the moves and all that, it's much more fluent with the D-pad than it is the analog stick. And I think you use the Wiimote and nunchuck. Is that right?
yeah, that's how I that's how I started out with Tatsunoko versus Capcom with that combination. I was tempted to buy the arcade stick, another like you said, but I've never had an arcade stick, so I don't really play with that. I mean to say I don't really go to arcades.
Yeah.
I know how it's used, but it's just it's not really my preference. But when Tatsunoko versus Capcom was coming out at first, I kind of considered buying the arcade stick, just to try to get used to it.
Right.
But it was a lot. It was a lot of money. Arcade sticks aren't really that cheap. They are actually expensive.
It's kind of like
But
the drums and guitar for Guitar Hero games.
Guitar Hero?
Yeah, I'm saying like the arcade stick is kind of expensive, like the extra instruments that you'd get for Guitar Hero and all.
Oh yeah. Actually, that's pretty much the case with a lot of peripherals in gaming today. There's all this extra stuff that they try to get you to buy, and it's necessary if you want to play a game. But I mean, that's if you want to live the experience. If not, then you can just you can always use your console controller. It's just some people prefer to have a different type of experience when playing games. But I don't know. I guess yeah, like you said, it all comes down to preference and how much money you're willing to dish out.
For a college student, your money's kind of slim.
Yeah, in today's economy, no kidding.
Well, speaking of preference and all, the videos that I tried to get for this. I was trying to get like our mains and all that, and I know mine. But what are yours other than Ibuki, as you can see right here in this video?
For Street Fighter, I mostly for some reason in most fighters I tend to go with female fighters. I find them a little more enjoyable to play as because they're very nimble and quick, and they're sometimes easy to control for the most part. But that's not to say I don't use male characters at all. Besides Ibuki, I also have Cammy, as you've seen in some battles, Chun-Li as well. I tend to use Fei Long. I try to stay away from Ken and Ryu because everybody uses them. It's like an overused character.
Yeah.
I mean, they're cool characters, but it's just I kind of want to be unique. And
Right.
I don't know. Besides Fei Long, Guy would be another character I use. What about you? I've only seen you use Rufus and Dan and Juri.
Yeah. When I first got the Street Fighter 4, I was like you. I wanted to be different, so I said, well, Rufus is probably the biggest, no pun intended, oddball, and so I kind of stuck with him. I said he's kind of funny. He reminded me a lot of Wario, and I use Wario in Smash, and so I kind of stuck with him. I wasn't really serious online, and until I got Super Street Fighter 4, and you had it, and I said, well, now I need to kind of get a little bit more serious. So for Street Fighter 4, the only two that I really tried a lot was Rufus and El Forte. El Forte?
El Fuerte.
El Forte, yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of messed around with Dan just because he was kind of a joke character.
Yeah.
And then with the new fighters coming out, like Juri, like this video this fight that you see right here, I said, well, let me kind of expand into some of the new fighters. And Juri is kind of it's not really the most used character, but it's kind of close to the top 10 most used.
Yeah.
So as far as characters that are used a lot, Juri's probably the only one. And then I guess it about covers everybody that I use the most. Just those four: Juri, Rufus, El Forte, and Dan. But Dan's just kind of like a comic relief.
You're pretty good with Dan, I'll tell you that. The thing about your Dan is you know precisely when to use the ultra combos, and that's what kills me because I tend to be an all-out person when it comes to matches. I just go all out. I don't really worry about defense. It's more offense with me.
Yeah.
And that's where my mistake lies, and then that's how I noticed that's when you've actually taken advantage of that, and you kind of go ultra. And that's how you. Yeah. So your Dan is it's pretty much gotten up there to the point where it can beat a lot of my characters now. this match right here that we're watching. It was a really close match.
Yeah.
I think you won this one, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
I think it came down to
I
the.
remember I slammed my controller on the table.
Oh,
It was such a close match, though. It was a good one too.
yeah. I'm not going to give away the ending, but we actually stopped for a second so I could save this one. You remember? Or do you remember the ending of it?
This match?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, what do I remember?
The ending part of it. Very because it came down to the final round, and it was like we were both to our critical health. Well,
Oh yeah.
we'll see.
I
We'll
think
see.
you pulled a Dan on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be honest though. Like I said numerous times, you're getting better with you. I think personally, your Jury and Dan, they're pretty close in skill. Like they're really good. They're better than your Rufus. But
Yeah.
I don't know, which one do you think personally you're more comfortable with when it comes down to those two? Is it Dan or Jury?
Uh, really and truly, I'm gonna say Jury because she's kind of simple in her moves. Well, then so is Dan, but Jury's more of a close combat kind of person, and Dan he does have his weak Hadouken and all, but I think that Jury's more comfortable for me. That is. I think here's the part. Nope, nope, not yet. Right there.
Uh, well, actually, you kicked my ass on this round.
I,
It wasn't even that close.
I don't know. It was kind of close because we came down to the final match. That's another thing. If you win, you win easily. If I win, it's going to come down to the final match.
Well, I mean, it's probably a glitch,
Yeah.
but no, I tend to get lucky. It's not I just like I said, I'm all offense. I rarely think about my defense, and I guess that's where what I mean by getting lucky is maybe I just unintentionally confuse the opponent, and that's where they just. I'm not trying to say that maybe this is you. Maybe I could be right. I don't know, but it gets to the point where they don't know if I'm gonna just stand in one place or just walk all over the area, and pretty much not to say that I mash buttons. I just tend to just hit until I get a hit.
Yeah,
You know,
I got
you
you.
know what I'm saying? Hope it makes sense.
That
But
it makes
no,
sense.
for the most, what's that?
I was saying it makes sense. Kind of going back to Tatsunoko versus Capcom. In if you haven't played that, it's kind of like Street Fighter, but it mixes up two franchises, and you also have a double team. So he could have two people, and me have two people. And what I was trying to get to at that was, I'm sometimes I'm sure that you probably get about halfway down your health, and you'll switch out your characters. So I kind of anticipate that, and then sometimes you won't do it, and it kind of confuses me. So I'm thinking, oh, he's fixing to do it. Nope, nope, maybe later.
Yeah, for Tatsunoko versus Capcom, I kind of changed my strategy
Yeah,
depending on who is it that I fight. You know, usually what I do though for certain matches, I try to lose on purpose just so I can kind of get the hang. This is the first time I'm fighting a different person.
I got you.
I try to kind of get the feel of how their skill is going to be, so I just kind of, I don't, not that I stand still, but I don't try my best, is what I'm trying to say. And then by the third match, that's when I kind of get an idea, a strategy as to how I can go about this match to try and get a victory. If not, then it just means I need to practice harder.
Alright, I got you. Well, I hate to cut you off, but this video is about to wrap up. We had some pretty good matches in here. So if you want to, come back and watch us in our next video. I'm Star Road Warrior.
And I'm Blitzsword.
See you guys next time.